Digital marketing seems to be the mystery that most entrepreneurs struggle with, and real estate investors are no exception. The truth is, there are multiple avenues to success. Those experiences will be best shared by the guests on this podcast. My name is Jason Wright, and I would like to welcome you to Real Estate Investor Marketing Stories. What is going on? Jason Wright here. Welcome to episode number 42 of the podcast. Before I get into the conversation that I had with a guest, I thought it'd be a good time for me to update you on some new things we are helping our clients with. If you heard the last episode, you will remember that I've been missing in action for about 5 months with this podcast. And not that I forgot about it or didn't think it was important, but I had bigger priorities. You know how things go. So what we have kind of always been known for in this industry was active campaign or lead nurture for real estate investors. Since I have last talked about it, we've expanded that horizon quite a bit. So we've kind of changed our tagline and our focus to basically intelligent lead solutions. And the intelligent piece is really a nod towards AI and automation, since we use a lot of that stuff where it makes sense. And the lead solutions is really two pieces, right? Piece one is lead gen. So we are doing lead generation for capital raisers through Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, and we're working on a cold email outreach offering as well. And then more traditionally for us, on the lead nurture side, we help with the marketing automation, the CRM, the training, the support with active campaign and go high level. So it's more of a complete solution than we've offered before. And I just want to share that with you. A lot of people are looking for that first piece once they have that second piece set up. So just a bit about cold email outreach. I've been testing that on my own business for about 6 weeks now. Pretty interesting stuff. It's very, very different than the email stuff that I've talked about in the past. Is very different than what I would call warm email outreach. If somebody joins my list by choice and I email them, that's what I'm calling warm email outreach. Cold email is me, making the first move. And I'm not doing that for my main business domain, but I actually have 40 email accounts set up to do that. So we have the ability to send 1,000 cold emails a day, which is insane. The stealthiness and the scalability of it's quite interesting. It is challenging. It is challenging to get set up properly, but we are having great results with deliverability. It is easy to target accredited investors through that as well. So anyway, just wanted you to be aware of that. All right, on to the guest. Today I'll be speaking to my buddy Mike Morawski. I'll tell you what I know about Mike. He is the Chief Investment Officer of a multifamily hedge fund, 25 years in the financial industry, host of 3 podcasts. One is Insider Secrets. The second is Multifamily Unplugged. The third is called Thursday Morning Live. I actually had the opportunity to meet Mike briefly in Phoenix this past February at RaceFest. And he's a big old tall 6'4", 6'5" guy like me. So we had a great conversation here that I'm going to share with you now. What is going on, Mike? Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate being here, Jason. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well. So I'd love to hear the story, kind of how you originally got drawn into real estate investing. How'd that happen?
I tell this story from time to time, but I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. I don't come from a family of anybody who had anything to do with real estate. My parents built a custom home and owned a home. I remember years ago, they built that for like $38,000. And the last time I checked, it traded for $450,000. So, real estate always goes up in value, right?
Yeah.
But I remember, being 8 years old and sitting on the side of a swimming pool with my dad, family vacation, and asking my dad what all the rooms were around the swimming pool. And, in his infinite wisdom said to me, well, people come here and they pay the owner money to stay here. And at that point, I said, I want to be the owner. I want people to pay me money to stay at my house, right? Yeah. And that kind of always stuck with me. And, years later, I got into real estate. I'm a big believer in, we, you may not have heard in the past, if you think you need a new refrigerator and you think about it enough, you wind up getting a new refrigerator.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in everything in our life that, we think about it enough and we end up there.
Yep. Absolutely. I like that story, by the way. That's interesting. To have that kind of foresight at 8 is pretty special, A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you, I do not come from a family of entrepreneurs at all. And, since I'm one, with my kids, it's like I have a son who's graduating in May of this year. And I'm saying, what's your plan after high school? And unlike my parents, it's not what school you're going to. It's, are you going this route? Are you going this route? The route you're not going if you're not taking a year off and hanging out in my pool and eating my food. So curious to see what he'll do for sure.
Yeah. Now that we just put a new pool in, you can go to college.
Absolutely. The ultimate revenge play there. All right. So when you're looking to invest, what asset classes or markets do you typically focus on and why?
I am a multifamily market rate rent investor. I don't let there's a lot of things that you could do in the multifamily business, and I am super focused on market rate rent. I don't like deals like low tax credit deals or housing deals because I can't raise my rent. And this is like any other business. You got to increase value and increase profitability.
Yep.
And so I like market rate rent. If I told you my buy box, ultimately my wish list is 1990s and newer.
Mm-hmm.
We do some C class, C minus stuff where we do value add. I love the Southeast, from Dallas to Charlotte, hitting, all those major points along the way, Raleigh, Greensboro, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Huntsville, Dallas, but I like the Midwest too. And, so we're doing a bunch of things in Dallas or in Tulsa right now, which is just a very economically diverse market. And that's one of the things on my, market fundamentals list is the economic diversity. And so Tulsa's really, really good. I like some Tennessee. So those are.
Ever given much thought to like self-storage or short-term rentals or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually have a really good friend who was in the multifamily business, actually worked for me years ago, and he's off doing self-storage and he loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Self-storage is an option, but, like I said, you reap what you sow. So if I sow enough multifamily, I wind up reaping it. And a quick example, we're doing a 5-property portfolio right now in Tulsa. And before we found that, which came to us off market from a broker, kind of a pocket listing, because of relationships we built with brokers, we had underwritten 90 deals. It was about $1 billion in transactions going through, the second half of 2022 into 2023. Couldn't find anything. And then all of a sudden, this deal shows up. So, it's that same old thing. You get what you look for. So,
yeah, it's really what I hear you saying is kind of what I do in this business, but a narrow focus pays off. When it seems like when people go too broad, it's like you can't go narrow, you can't go wide and deep at the same time. It's one or the other. And, we're very, very specific with what we do. It's the back end of the sales funnel with one software. So it's very niche, but by doing it over and over and over and focusing on one narrow thing, it makes a big difference. And the same thing is going to be true with what you're talking about. Sometimes I'll get people on here or just talk to them and they'll invest anywhere and anything. And it's just like, yeah, it's so overwhelming. Like, how do you figure out what you're really good at or what you really like if you're so broad,
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. All right. So for you, you've been doing this a while. What simple marketing strategies allowed you initially to start attracting new investors? What kind of worked for you there?
I'm a proponent of fishing. I don't like to fish myself, but I like the philosophy behind it. If you go down to the river or you go out on the boat and you're fishing, if you have one line in the water, your odds are whatever they are.
Yeah.
You might catch one fish, but if I have 5 lines in the water, I'm going to catch more fish.
Okay.
So I'm a big proponent of lead magnets. And so I have, a number of ebooks, a couple of books that I've written that, we push out there that attract people. I have a couple of white papers that I push out there. I'll do a generic webinar that just, I put on a platform, and then we do marketing or social media towards those lead magnets.
Yep.
And, I'm about data capture. And so I want a name, a phone number, and an email address so that I can call somebody and talk to them about investing.
Yep.
We've done some Facebook advertising, which, brings you all kinds of leads, good, bad, and indifferent.
Yep.
But, I still think that there's a lot to be said for the organic side of doing social media and, just pushing content out.
Yeah. Lead magnets, it's amazing to me in this industry, there's still a lot of people who don't have any, right? They have 2 forms on their website. It's like contact us or invest. It's like, there should be some options in between, I promise. So,
yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, lead magnets are great because let's just say you have 3 that are very different subject matter. You start to figure out the people that resonate with your message, what they like. It's just it's a great way if you have multiple to kind of see which one works the best, then try to figure out why. Is it because this one's video? Is it because my people that I attract are more interested in this? So it is a relatively easy way. And I'll tell you, I've launched and had a lot of lead magnets not work over the years, but also have some that work really, really well. And you find those by just not, you can't be scared to test, and they don't work, they don't work. So yeah, it's a great idea. People have got to get out of this either booking a call with me or we'll never meet each other mentality, because they're just missing so much in between.
Yeah. Last night I did a live webinar. I had a panel.
Yep.
And we talked about tax planning strategies before December 15th.
Yeah.
Right? Most people plan for their taxes, around December 15th. And oh my God, it's the end of the year. I made a bunch of money. I got to go spend some money. So they run to, Office Max or Best Buy, and they buy something, trying to, get some year-end tax savings in, when you should really be starting to plan that stuff January 1.
Yeah.
So I did a panel last night, had an accountant on, a 1031 person, another multifamily syndicator on, just talking about the strategies that we use within multifamily, how to prepare to create more cash flow, put cash in your pocket throughout the year, and create generational wealth.
Yeah. You guys probably had to get into cost segregation a bit then, didn't you?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but actually next month I have a webinar coming up that we'll do specifically on cost segregation.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, that's the first thing that popped in my head. Am I correct in, are they bringing that back to 100%, like bonus depreciation?
Yeah, the bill got passed, and I think, I can't remember how it works now. I think it goes to the Senate, and the Senate has to pass the bill. But here's how I look at it. There's enough people in Congress and, politicians that own real estate that want it as much as you or I want it. You know? So yeah, I think that they'll revisit the tax bill, get it done, and we'll be back to some form of 100% of depreciation or that cost segregation stuff again.
Yeah, nice. All right, this is an interesting question. So when thinking about your marketing along your journey as an entrepreneur, what's been the biggest mistake and the biggest regret so far Is it, I should have done this sooner, or I should have done this at all? Or what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I could tell you about my biggest mistake, which you might get to later, but I think from the very beginning when I got into real estate, so I started out in real estate as a residential agent. I had a construction company. I came from the construction industry, went into residential real estate, and it took me about 2.5 years to realize that I didn't have a database. So I never had a CRM or a way to keep track of past clients, of people I've talked to, of conversations I've had. Hey, it's just like I have a CRM today. I can look at you, Jason, in my CRM and say, oh, you've been on my podcast. I've been on your podcast. Yep. And you keep track of people and notes and conversations you've had, and then create a marketing plan around that, a drip campaign. So I think the biggest mistake I made was early on. I blew through a bunch of leads and a bunch of people that could have been business down the road, or may have bought a house or invested or done something, but I didn't keep track of those names and numbers. And so I tell people early on, build a database. A database is extremely important for what we do in business as an entrepreneur, but specifically in raising capital, doing investment deals, selling real estate, wherever you hang your hat at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been doing this 8.5 years, and I still have conversations every week with people who have no CRM, right? They're younger than me, trying to run their business on legal pads and Post-its. I'm like, have you seen a calendar? What year do you look? What are you doing? Why are you making this so hard, And I just don't get it, because once you get any reasonable amount of people in a CRM, there's no way you could keep that stuff organized. What can you keep? Maybe 20 people and some notes organized on paper? And then you throw in like a capital raise and you have a coaching program. I mean, you're going to hate your life if you're trying to track this stuff manually. You just can't do it. You're going to miss too much stuff. So I don't know why people fight it. I think the CRM, the marketing automation, is the most challenging part of marketing. And I think if people have never messed with it, it's very intimidating. And I don't have time to even start that. And then years go by. So I hear it all the time. And I'll be talking about that the rest of my life, I'm sure. So.
And technology today is so vast that, there's all kinds of product out there that you can get, web-based, online, lives in the cloud, right? I remember when my first CRM was Act. I don't know if you remember Act, but you could buy it out of the box for like $49, and then, do the fields yourself and, put that data in yourself and build this spreadsheet yourself, or database yourself. And it was, that was I look at that as prehistoric now compared to what you can do today, Yeah,
and everything has AI now. I mean, every single tool my team and I use has AI, and some of it makes sense, and some of it I'm like, why would I need AI with Calendly? Like, I don't need AI. Like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. So it's in everything, and it's actually kind of scary, because you fast forward 5 years, what does the world look like? I mean, our phones, our devices, everything listens to us now, right? If you're in a room with a Google Home or an Alexa, the thing turns on all the time. You can see the light. We don't have them in the house. I'm like, the phones listen to us anyway. And they do, because you're talking about something. You go to Facebook and there's an ad about what you're just talking about. You've never talked about before. And you're like, what? So
it's spooky. It's spooky for sure. Yeah.
I resisted the AI for a long time, but we use it now to help write email copy for clients, and we can use it to write blogs. Like a lot of people can. We do it a little bit differently, but it's like, it saves time, it saves money. But, since I'm human, I will say there's no replacement for the real human interaction, but may not be my decision somehow.
Yeah. Hey, I have two comments. So one is, they say technology doubles every 2.5 years. So you said 5 years. Can you imagine where we're going to be in 5 years based on that statistic?
No.
And then the other thing is that, last night, I told you I did this webinar last night. Well, I had like 30 minutes between getting off my last call and getting ready for the webinar. And I said, damn, I don't even have any questions yet. So I go to ChatGPT, right? Yeah. And I just type in, I say, I'm hosting a panel webinar with 4 participants, one 1031, one CPA, one apartment syndicator. Create 10 questions for me to ask these panelists. And boom, I had 2 pages of questions that came up. And I just worked through those questions on the panel last night. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So, it can be your friend if you use it right.
It's scary because you can see it's going to be able to replace a lot of people. Like there's jobs out there in the modern world that, like, I don't know if we're going to need people for that much longer. I mean, you go to some stores now, like to some McDonald's, you've got to place your own order. There's like no interaction. There's a little box and you're like, what? Like I'm doing the work. Well, you're charging me crazy prices and I'm doing all the work up here. Like, what's going on here? So you're starting to see it in some examples, but yeah, I mean, just in the last 6 months in our business, we can see a big difference from that alone. But yeah, it's an interesting ride. It's going to be a very interesting ride.
Yeah.
All right. Can you share a story about your real estate investor journey that you haven't shared publicly or share another podcast? And we're really just looking to get to know more of the authentic you. It could be something funny. It could be whatever you want.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell a story early on when I got in real estate. I was probably, 3-4 months into the business.
Yep.
And I was with a buyer, single woman, and we were out looking at townhouses. And we walk in this townhouse, and there's cars in the driveway, but nobody's answering the door. And I'm, knocking, banging, ringing the doorbell. Nobody answers. So I take the key out of the lockbox, and I go in, and we walk in the house, and hello, nobody's there, right? Nobody's answering. So we're looking through the house, and we're talking, and her and I are laughing, and just kind of looking at some of the decor in that. And we go upstairs to the bedrooms, and I open the door of the bedroom, and so it was raining, and I guess all these guys were in the landscape business, and they were all home. But we opened the door to that first bedroom, and the guy's in there having sex with a woman. And I closed the door really quick, and we go to the next bedroom and open the door, and same thing going on. Another guy having sex with his woman. And so we go downstairs. There's a third bedroom in the basement. And I look at the woman and I go, hey, you open this door. She goes, no, I'm not going to open it. We just left. But, it's just kind of funny. Just one of those stories that kind of sticks with you over the years,
Oh, man, that had to be awkward. Did they...
Talk about awkward, embarrassing moments, right?
Did they even see you come in?
Yeah, they said, oh, got all scared.
Did they know why you were there and all that? It wasn't like,
oh yeah, they figured it out. Yeah.
So I'm assuming your client didn't buy that place.
No, we didn't buy that place.
Yeah.
But she did buy a townhouse from me, which was nice.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. All right. Let's say you had the opportunity to talk to a brand new capital raiser just getting started in the space. What one piece of market advice would you give them?
The raising capital is a relationship game.
Yeah.
And it's not about me just calling you up, Jason, and saying, hey, do you want to invest in this? And you automatically investing. I got to find out, who you are, what makes you tick, and are you somebody that, we would work together well, right? Because I want my investors that are invested with me to feel like they matter, that they're not just a dollar coming in the door, right, to get a piece of real estate done. I'm not borrowing money from you, but we're partnering together to share in the profits of a business. Mm. And so my advice to a new capital raiser is that build a relationship with somebody. You know, there's an old acronym in building relationships. It's called FORD, Ford, you know. So when you get on the phone with somebody, talk about their family, talk about their occupation. You know, hey, Jason, have you guys been on a, family vacation lately? What are you doing for recreation? You know, you might tell me you're building a pool, right? That's your form of recreation right now. And then what are your dreams for the future? So I want to, nobody cares what you know till they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And so by building a relationship, because I want my investors to invest more than in just one deal. I want them to be with me for a long period of time because I've changed the value of their life through a financial component to help them build generational wealth.
Yep.
And, that comes from relationship and continual conversations. And, I try to stay in touch with my past investors as much as I can.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I remember when the COVID lockdowns happened and this business went radio silent for about 9 days, like no emails at all. I was like, what's going to happen now? Revenue only dipped about 7,000 or 8,000 that year from the previous year. And the only reason we survived is because of repeat business, good relationships, and referrals from good relationships. And that was the year where I was like, man, had I not done such a good job with this piece of it, like there was nothing new coming in at all. It would have been in serious trouble. So that stuck with me, and it's natural to me anyway. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing for that reason. But yeah, some people get in this business and it's all about, all they see is dollar signs. And like you say, investors aren't people to them. They're a means to an end. And those people generally don't stick around too long if they don't make it. So
Right.
very good stuff. All right, so we are having this conversation in February of 2024. As you look to the end of this year, what are you most focused on in your business? What are you looking forward to?
Oh, boy, that's a great question. My goal this year is to acquire another 500 to 1,000 units and to partner with, 100 new private investors.
Mm-hmm.
To continue to build those relationships. And on the other side, I've also launched a pretty robust group coaching platform, which if somebody invests with me passively in one of our real estate offerings, I give them access to that platform. So, because a lot of private investors want to learn more. They're getting involved because they don't know about, they know real estate investing is powerful, and but they wanna learn more about the business. So I just, if somebody's going to invest $50,000 or $100,000 with me or more, I'm going to give them access to my platform where it's, complete teaching. If somebody's looking to be an active investor, they can also have access to that. But my goal is really to be a great asset manager and make sure that we continue to be profitable in our multifamily holdings.
That's really cool, man. I've never heard of anybody else with a program that they let their investors get into like that. That's great, man. I like that a lot. So awesome stuff, man. All right. For anybody watching or listening, because this is video and audio, if they want to get more info about you or what you're doing, what's the best place they can go to do so?
Well, you can find me anywhere on social media. So wherever you hang out, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. You could go to my public Facebook group called Multifamily Unplugged and connect there. Or you can shoot me an email at mike@mikemorawski.com, or you could call me. And I love to connect with people and build those relationships. So, you could text me at 325-436-7357. And, I would welcome that call.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on today. It's been fun and informative, and you've thrown some things out that I've never heard before. So appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks. It's been great to connect with you. So have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
I tell you to stay dry, but you're not going to.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the show. I had a great time making it, and I hope you really enjoyed yourself listening to it. If you want to keep up with all things Real Estate Investor Marketing Stories podcast related, I encourage you strongly to go to reimarketingstories.com and signing up for our podcast newsletter. We will simply keep you up to date with what's going on with the show, new episodes, and things like that. reimarketingstories.com. So hopefully today's episode and the other episodes that you'll listen to will remind you that as a real estate investor, everybody starts at the beginning, okay? Our guest today and the other guests that you will hear on this show will share their real story, right? They'll tell you what worked, what didn't work. And I want you to remember one thing, if you remember nothing else today. It's possible for you too, okay? Never stop going and keep following your passion. Finally, today's show has been brought to you by capitalraisingautomations.com. If you're an active capital raiser and you are ready to learn the 3 areas that are holding you back from raising more capital, I strongly suggest you check out capitalraisingautomations.com. Check out our free 10-minute video there, and you let me know if it doesn't provide you value. I'm sure it will. All right, thanks again for listening to the show this week. Hope to see you next time. Take care.